That was good. I liked that. Oh, you were serious. It's a fucking shit show. What you think you see, what you think you hear, that's what it's about. Mood and atmosphere. No, it's fucking garbage. It's garbage. Mood and atmosphere. Now that I really like. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see. Hey folks, how you doing? Dave McRae here. Okay, grab some popcorn, settle in, and buckle up because some McRage is coming at you here. Now, most of you probably already know what I'm going to talk about in this video. The vast majority of you probably already know the nitty-gritty details surrounding this whole fucking thing. And I think the real reason why I'm doing this video is because of the 2 videos I did last week in regards to the Halloween franchise, where I talked about how important nuance is to the world of fandom when you're trying to understand what people mean and what they're saying and all that kind of shit. And I still feel hot after those 2 videos. It's still fresh. You know, it's not like I don't come across this shit, this shit online all the time. It's just that it's not usually after something where it's like, that's directly related to kind of what I'm, anyways. So I think that's really the reason why I want to rant about this. So let me start here. Every now and then I come across, as I'm sure you guys do too, something online that you read, whether it's a post on Facebook or a tweet or whatever the case is, and you think to yourself, they cannot possibly be that fucking dumb. They cannot possibly lack that much objective awareness. They cannot possibly lack that much understanding of nuance. Because their reaction is so extreme in relation to what they're reacting to that for me anyway, it borderlines satirical. It borderlines on satire. And I like satire. You guys know me. I implement satire on this channel all the time. An example of it would be when I do the crazy, nerdy fanboy voice, right? Dave, did you get my message? Dave, it's not meant to be taken seriously. I'm going to the extreme to make a point, right? But with satire, with most satire anyway, there's an element of truth to it. An element, okay? Just an element. And the element of truth in that fanboy voice isn't necessarily the voice, it's the passion and energy behind it. Remember, I'm a fanboy too, in case you haven't noticed. Okay, I'm part of that, right? It's the passion and energy behind it. It's, Dave, hey guys, we all feel that. And then I'm illustrating it almost like a cartoon character. So I like satire. It's fun. Some satire can be offensive, of course, but if you're having some fun and you know what you're doing, some satire can be really awesome. So these reactions to Jason Reitman's recent quotes from Bill Burr's podcast this past Monday blow my fucking mind. I'm like, are you serious, Clark? I had to bust out my cousin Eddie. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? So, Jason Reitman, director of the new Ghostbusters movie that's coming out next summer, starts shooting this summer, son of original Ghostbusters director Ivan Reitman, who did the first 2 movies in 1984 and 1989, is directing a follow-up to that second movie. He's directing the 3rd installment in the original franchise, negating everything from the 2016 remake. Now, I actually quite liked that movie. I thought it was all right for what it was. I thought it was all right. I know a lot of you didn't. That's fair. But I actually thought it was all right for what it was. But it did not make bank at the box office. And there's a very specific reason why they've decided to walk away from that. And we'll get to that in a second. So what did Jason Reitman say? Well, here's what Jason Reitman said. Jason Reitman, there's a couple of quotes I want to read, and this is one of them. Jason Reitman said this, and I quote, on Bill Burr's podcast this past Monday. "This is going to be a love letter to Ghostbusters," Reitman shared on Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast. I love this franchise. I grew up watching it. I consider myself the first Ghostbuster fan, which is kind of cute because obviously his father directed the first movie and blah, blah. I was like 7 years old when that movie came out, and I love it. I want to make a movie for my fellow Ghostbusters fans. Okay, cool. And then according to the Hollywood Reporter, he said things like, I'm not making the Juno of Ghostbusters. I'll get into what he probably meant by that. He also said things like, we are in every way trying to go back to the original technique and hand the movie back to the fans, said Reitman, noting that his team painstakingly researched techniques used in the 1984 original film, directed by his father, Ivan Reitman. So I read all that and I was like, oh, okay, cool. All right, cool. And then I started to read articles coming from MovieWeb, coming from the Hollywood Reporter, coming from, I think, Variety might have done one too, or something like that. You know, reputable sources, Hollywood Reporter and Variety being the more reputable. But MovieWeb's, you know, they're all right. Sometimes they're very clickbaity. But that, actually, a lot of times they are. But that being said, I started to read these articles calling out Jason Reitman, or people were tweeting calling Jason Reitman out about what he said. And I was like, what the fuck did he say? Right? Oh, you sexist son of a bitch. Oh yeah, you want to give it back to the fans, those misogynistic sexist fans. I was like, what the fuck did Reitman say, right? I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, fuck, because it didn't even dawn on me that it was the same article that I read to you. Like, you know, it didn't even dawn on me that they were referring to the Bill Burr interview because there was nothing he said there that was misogynistic or sexist at all. Literally nothing. So when I started to read these tweets, I was like, what? And then I found out that, yes, it is what they were. And I'm like, what the fuck? No way these are serious. Like, is it April Fool's? Like, what the fuck is going on? No fucking way. Here's a tweet from a Cherry Priest, Cherie. Never heard of you. Sorry if I butchered your name, but it's got to be one of the two, I'd imagine. Here's what she said. And this is sort of I chose one that went to the extreme to make a point, but they're all pretty much in this same vein. Okay. They're all like this in one way or another. Some more extreme, some not so much. Here's what she said. Reitman can eat a big bag of dicks if he thinks women and girls aren't fans who are worthy of seeing cool stories that include them once in a goddamn blue moon. Flips table, burns down the world. Now, you can clearly see how, you know, I read that and I'm like, come on, like, you're joking, right? Like, this, no, they're dead fucking serious. Dead serious. Because there's a slew of other tweets from various people, some well-known, some not, saying relatively the same thing. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I got so angry, primarily because of, you know, again, it's that not understanding nuance, having no sense of objective awareness. I can't believe I'm going to use this term because it's so cliche, but we really do live in this outrage culture now where, like I said, everybody thinks their opinion matters. It doesn't. Informed opinions matter. And I'm not saying that opinions don't matter. Again, it's generally speaking. I'm not saying you're not entitled to express it. I'm just saying that to have the impact you want your opinion to have, you have to be informed of whatever it is you're talking about. You know, take superhero films. Now, I can talk about superhero films from a basic standpoint. You know, I can talk about the movie making process and maybe what I think the DCEU should have done and what order maybe they should have done it in, all that kind of stuff to help improve their probability of success. But if you want me to talk about, you know, the actual movies and the universes and the characters, fuck, that's out of my league, man. I wouldn't even think to have an opinion on that shit. My opinion doesn't matter. I'm so ill-informed of that shit that I wouldn't even be comfortable, right? Get me talking about Halloween? Different story, right? But it seems like we live in such a culture now where everybody feels that no matter what the fuck it is, if I feel angry about something, my opinion matters. Yeah, but do you know what you're talking about? Or have you just glommed on to buzzwords like Islamophobia, transphobia, you know, misogynistic, sexism, racism, homophobia? You just taken those buzzwords and strung them together in a pretty coherent sentence or paragraph that gives people the illusion you know what you're talking about. I can't stand that fucking Jason Reitman. He's so misogynistic. misogynistic, homophobic, Islamophobic, transphobic, and it's like, well, it sounds really good because it's got this rhythmic, poetic thing to it, and then you end it with a big exclamation part and flipping tables, burning worlds, and you're like, fuck, and it's like, yeah, but you really know what the fuck you're talking about? Because so many people want to feel like they know what they're talking about because they want to be part of the discussion, because they feel emotional about it. So they want to get in on it, right? They want to, I want to get a fucking, I don't know what to do. I need an outlet. Well, go take up boxing and punch a boxing bag or something. Because if you're just going to scream at the top of your lungs over something like this, that was not even in the ballpark of what you're alluding to, then you have no business being in this game. No business. Because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You really don't. And you bring no value to the table because you have no evidence of it. You're just emotional because you're looking for an outlet to express it. And you're more than entitled to do it. I firmly support that. Just as long as you know that you look like an idiot. Because there's just nothing, there's no value there. I get that you're upset. I get that, yes, look, those fans, some fans, a lot of fans, said horrible things about that 2016 film that were misogynistic, that were sexist. A lot of people came out and said awful things about Leslie Jones, which I absolutely, Lulu, which I absolutely condemn. It is unequivocally unacceptable. But that's not why they're not making another Ghostbusters movie to the 2016 film. The reason why they're not making it is because it didn't make money. Listen, according to Box Office Mojo, the 2016 Ghostbusters movie made worldwide now $229,147,509. Sounds like a lot of money, right? Well, it would be if it was in our bank accounts. But when the movie costs $144 million to make before marketing costs, okay, this movie didn't even break even. It lost money. It lost money. And when a movie out of the gate loses money, the studio is not going to greenlight a sequel to that movie because statistically, sequels don't make as much. Certainly not as much as a first installment that already lost money. It's not like the sequel is going to make $500 million. Do you know what I'm saying? They already lost money. They said, well, we tried. It wasn't a total failure. I mean, it's got 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. Some people really enjoyed it, but there was that backlash. There was, but it wasn't a total failure, right? In the eyes of some, I'm sure it was. But I'm just saying from a business standpoint, it wasn't a total disaster completely. But it did lose money. It did. It didn't break even. So, you look at this and you think, well, of course they're not going to make it. That's why they're not making another one. If Ghostbusters 2016 had made bank at the box office, let's say it made $850 million worldwide, it was a huge success, 450 of it, okay, was just domestic. And when you hear domestic, that means US and Canada. It'd be like, whoa, 450 million just domestic. That means that there's a lot of repeat watch value. That means a lot of people went back to see it again. And it's got a 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck, let's do a sequel. Because the evidence is there. We can measure it through box office receipts of whether or not it makes for a good business decision to do a sequel. This would be a stupid business decision. I don't care if it's for ladies, if it's for squirrels, if it's for men. I don't care if the movie starred who's hot right now? Bradley Cooper and I don't care. It didn't make money. So we're not going to do another one. And because we live in that nostalgia era right now where everybody's on this nostalgia train, the studio thought, hey, why don't maybe now's the best time to do it. Maybe it's now or never. And we'll keep it in the family and we'll get Jason Reitman. That's what he's talking about. When he says, I want to give it back to the fans, he's talking about giving it to the fans who have been waiting 30 years to see this movie. Not fans that have just been waiting since the 2016 film. There have been fans, including myself, that have wanted a Ghostbusters 3 long before Melissa McCarthy or Leslie Jones were even names. I've wanted this movie since I was 10. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about, all right, I'll give it to you. All right, we'll give you some fan service. We'll go back. We'll add the old music in there, the old sound effects. We'll go back to the roots of the execution stylistically. That's what he's talking about. But I understand because you think all those fans are misogynistic, sexist pigs. But they're not. They're not. I'm one of them. How dare you call me a misogynistic, sexist pig? You don't know me. I like the movie. I'm a fan. I wasn't. Oh, what's that? Oh, you didn't mean everybody? Oh, well, what are you implementing right there then if you didn't mean everybody? Nuance. Right. That's what Jason Reitman is talking about. He's not saying, listen, this tweet from this woman, Reitman can eat a big bag of dicks if he thinks, show me where it alludes to the fact that he might think that he might think that women and girls aren't fans who are worthy of seeing cool stories that include them. What the fuck are you talking about? Your opinion means nothing. It doesn't matter because you're ill-informed. And if you are informed, this was a this was an epic fail to show that. This is just bullshit rhetoric that I can't take you seriously. Show me the evidence and I will stand by you and condemn the fuck out of that bullshit. But if you're just gonna tweet off in the Twitterverse because you need an emotional outlet somewhere, then you need to compartmentalize your feelings and you need to start attacking the real shit at play. Because the fact that Jason Reitman actually had to do damage control over this is ridiculous. He's got to do damage control over what? Nothing. He's got to do damage control over people who lack nuance and who are just angry and want to feel angry. He said nothing wrong. Reitman, if you're watching, you said nothing wrong, dude. I understand why you did the damage control. When you're working at that level, when you got a publicist like you, it's good. It's good cinematic political rhetoric. I get it. But do I think Jason is really absolute? I'm so sorry. No, fuck, he's not. He probably went home to his wife and said, what the fuck? But he's got to play the game. He's got to play it. They all do it. Sexism, racism, misogyny, homophobia, Islamophobia, transphobia, toss all the others in there as well. Yeah, it's bullshit. It's wrong. 100% wrong. I agree. 100%. It's bullshit. But we gotta be better. We can't just start doing this. Like, come on. I know you're angry. I know you're pissed off. And you want to be heard. I get it. But there are better ways to do it than to call out something that has nothing to do with it. And you're just grasping at straws, looking for shit. His Juno comment wasn't like that at all either. When he said that I want to make a Ghostbusters film that's not Juno-like, or not like Juno, he's not talking about because Juno had a female lead. He's not talking about that. He's talking about the fact that Juno was an experimental indie film. It was this artsy-fartsy film. He doesn't want to take risks necessarily like he did with Juno. He wants to kind of play it a bit safe. I don't mean safe in the fact that it's necessarily going to be predictable, but he wants to give the fans what they want, right? Have some fan service in there, some nostalgia. That's what he wants to do. That's what he means. He just chose Juno because he's probably most famous for that movie. It's the one that sort of put him on the map. The screenwriter won the Academy Award for it, for Christ's sakes. So it's just these off-the-cuff remarks that people just... It's like, holy shit. Grow up. Somebody needs to take your Twitter toy away, put you in timeout for a bit, because you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. But that doesn't mean that your anger towards what is wrong is not valid, because it is. But you got to compartmentalize that shit and start. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry, Jason. Sorry you had to go, because I have no doubt he's at home going, what the fuck? Him and his dad are probably having a couple beers going, it's like, I'm just talking about the movie. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyways, folks, that's all I got to say on that. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. I was going to do my normal exit, but fuck, I just don't feel like it right now. Fuck. I'll talk to you guys soon. Comment below. Cheers.